Shalom, all praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, Bashem Rakak Wadash. My name is Yakalba from Plaintables Camp in Philly. This lesson is called Cbdc, I think it's called. Central Bank Digital Currency, Cbdc. And this is whitehouse.gov, so it's the government website. All right. This is their website. It's official.gov, is ran by the government. So it's a domain name for the government. So it's the White House, whitehouse.gov. All right. So we go to says the domain is domain name. You can't see. I was reading. It says whitehouse.gov, briefing room, statements released. What kind of says it down here too? Executive order ensuring. Yeah, it says down here too. All right. So it says fact sheet. President Biden to sign executive order on ensuring responsible development of digital assets. So CBDC, Central Bank Digital Currency. All right. Right here. Central Bank Digital Currency. So if you didn't know what that meant, that's the acronym. Central Bank Digital Currency. A digital form of a country's sovereign currency, meaning the official currency. So they want to make, so we've been telling you this, for years, that they were going to make the money fully electronic. Right, and that it was a push to get rid of physical cash. We were saying that, elders and apostles have been saying that for years, since I heard about them in 2007. They've been pushing that this was in an agenda of the government, of the whole world's governments, but mainly starting with America and the European countries. All right, that they were going to push a digital currency, that the new currency was going to be a device planted in your body. All right, but it's gradually transitioning to that. All right, and it's going to be alongside the current cryptocurrencies. All right, so now America or world governments, they do have the rights to control a nation. If you have a central bank, which I believe most countries have a central bank, they have a monopoly on the fiat currency because they use fractional reserve banking. You can just look that up, what that means. All right. Digital assets, including cryptocurrencies, have an explosive growth in recent years, surpassing $3 trillion market cap last November and up to $14 trillion just 5 months prior. This is March 9th, 2022. Statements and releases. Approximately 40 million people have invested in, traded, or used cryptocurrencies. Over 100 countries are exploring or piloting central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, a digital form of a country's sovereign currency. All right, so that's pretty much a good summary. That's how much is being used. That's the market cap. That's how much money, 14 trillion. 14 billion, 3 trillion. So I believe that's the total amount in circulation. All right, you can look up the specifics on what market caps means. All right. So is this the pride here? It says the rise in digital assets creates an opportunity to reinforce American leadership. It said American exceptionalism. You can Google that. I did a lesson on that. American exceptionalism. Just type that in on the page. In global financial system and at the technological frontier. All right. So you can no longer argue that the push for digital currency is not in the Bible. You can't say that anymore. You can't say that's not in the scriptures. This is big. Money. What does the Bible say about money? For the love of money is the root of all evil. All right. So there has to be a correlation between this great transition and what the scriptures say. All right. So the link could be in the description box. And we're going to go down here. It says, well, that is why today President Biden will sign an executive order outlining the first ever whole of government approach to addressing the risk and harnessing the potential benefits of digital assets. All right. And their underlying technology. The order lays out a national policy for digital assets across 6 key priorities. All right. 6 key priorities. Well, 6, right? Yeah, 6. 6 key priorities. Consumer and investor protection, financial stability, illicit finance, meaning hiding your tax evasion through digital assets or digital currency, U.S. leadership in the global financial system, and economic competitiveness. Basically, they want to keep the U.S. A monopoly over the world currency, because the reserve currency is the dollar. So they want to keep that monopoly. The oil was traded in dollars. U.S. leadership in global financial system, meaning U.S. monopoly in the global financial system. So this is a global thing. America controls the world's money. All right. And you trying to tell me that's not in the Bible? All right, it's in the Bible. And economic competitiveness, financial inclusion, and responsible innovation. All right, so that's pretty much what I had highlighted, and had this: explore U.S. central bank digital currency by placing urgency on research and development of a potential United States central bank digital currency. Should issuance be deemed in the national interest? So it's a national interest. So they're doing a research to build this digital currency. The order directs the U.S. government to assess the technological infrastructure and capacity needs for a potential U.S. central bank digital currency in a manner that protects Americans' interests. All right. So right now they're saying like we want to do the research, which they are. If they're saying this already, that means they already have been doing this for years. All right. They're just telling us now, and this executive order is signed. All right. The order also encourages the Federal Reserve to continue its research development. Remember, the Federal Reserve is America gave the country, corporation, gave the Federal Reserve, another corporation, the authority to print America's money. All right. To continue research, development and assessment efforts for a U.S. central bank digital currency, including development of a plan for broader U.S. government action in support of their work. This effort prioritizes U.S. participation in multi-country experimentation, all right, and ensures U.S. leadership internationally. All right, so again, America, the whore, is the head. All right, she rules over all these countries. She rules over the beast, the European powers. All right, and it's multi-country. It's not just one country. It's not just America and Britain. It's all the countries. All right. And you have leaders amongst the countries. All right. The administration will continue work across agencies and with Congress to establish policies that guard against risk and guide. So I think you can pretty much get the point. All right. They're developing the technology to see the benefits of central bank digital currency. This will cut out on fraud, tax evasion, if you can control all the money, where it goes, what it's for, so you can't counterfeit it. All right. So this is they're pushing this. This is not a theory. All right. You have people like Bakwash from 14th Street Israelite. He was a major scoffer at Great Millstone, toward Great Millstone. He actually did a video where he had a Pringles chip. He put the Pringle chip on his arm and then put the arm up to his mouth and ate the chip and said, "Yeah, I got the chip." He actually did. the elders and the brothers in the camps know we actually seen the video when he did the video. All right, he put the chip on his arm because making a mockery of the our elders and apostles and us consistently preaching that the world's governments were going to implement an implant that was going to be the new currency, and the government's going to get rid of cash, and that's going to be the new currency. All right, or the medium of exchange. I mean, you use that electronic device to get goods and services and trade with that electronic device. All right, and they're talking about it, central bank digital currency. All right, so you can't call us liars. I've been saying it for years. All right, so this executive order if I'm not mistaken, was signed. Now, when you go to Revelation 13:15, it says, and he had power to give life into the image of the beast. All right, so he had power, meaning he has the ability to cause you to worship. All right, this image. All right, the image is, the laws, rules, regulation. All right, and he wants you to bow down to that law and order. All right, because every god has like a certain power, like the power over water, like Poseidon, Ares, god of war. So that's what the image is. The image is a god, image of the beast. All right, which has a certain way you're supposed to worship that image. All right, which is the laws, rules, regulations. You have to follow certain laws, rules, and regulations. All right, that's the image of the beast. All right, had power to, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. That image of the beast represents the laws, orders, regulations that you have to follow. All right. So when you see that image, which is the New World Order system, they have laws, rules, and regulations. All right. But the image of the beast should both speak. All right. Speak. Let's see. I thought I had that word up. Speak. Laleo. It says use words in order to declare one's mind and disclose one's thoughts. All right. To use words in order to declare one's mind and to disclose one's thoughts. All right. So that image, those laws, rules, regulations, orders, giving you instructions on how to worship. All right. And cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. All right. So in summary, if you're not following the orders of the government or governments, all right, which is the worship in the image, you're going to be put to death. All right. So if he tells you to take an implant, if he tells you got to go to work at a certain time, if he tells you got to take drugs, if he tells you you have to work at a specific place, you have to do it or you're going to be killed. All right, because the new system that's coming up is not a system of fairness and peace. It's totalitarianism, hate, no privacy. That's the new system. All right. So when you become a worshiper of this image of the new system, all right, you're a slave. All right. Let's go back more to speak. The image is speaking. All right. So when the image speaks, it's giving you laws, rules, regulations on what to do. All right. As you scroll, it pretty much says the same thing. When something speaks, and it gives reference to when the Most High speaks, he gives proof of his mind or will. So when something speaks, it's telling you his mind or will. All right, so the image is speaking. All right, was to use words in order to declare one's mind and disclose one's thoughts. All right, so that's the image speaking. It's telling you what to do, promulgating a thing to one, promote to make widely known. All right, here we go. So I think you get the point. The image speaking. It's an idol. All right. Which when you actually follow those laws, rules, regulations, those orders, you receive his implant, and you're a slave. You got to do whatever he tells you to do. All right. There's an example of worshiping an image. You go to the book of Daniel. As an example, the king's golden image in Daniel 3rd chapter. Nebuchadnezzar, the king, made an image of gold whose height was 60 cubits and the breadth thereof 6 cubits. He set it up in the plain of Dora in the province of Babylon. All right, this comes down to the point. It says, then a herald cried aloud, to you it is commanded, O people, nations, and languages. Yeah, these are all the peoples that the Babylonians conquered. All right, this is an amalgamation of the Assyrian Empire and the Babylonians. They kind of got mixed together. All right, we look up the history. All right, it says, to you a commanded language of tongue. All right, that at the time you hear the sound of the cornet flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Psaltery.
All right, yeah. Dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye shall fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king has set up. And whoso falleth not down to worshipeth shall the same hour be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. All right. So that's how you had to worship this image. You had to bow down and worship, meaning to kiss the hand, ask for things to the image, revere it, fear the image, believe that it could bring you success, all right, or money or happiness. You worship, you bow down and worship. Right? You are subject to that image. So whatever that image tells you to do, you have to do. So this is what they did. They bowed down and gave honor to the golden image. The king made an image of gold. All right. So that's just an example of worshiping an image. All right. And he calls all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Let me look up where we at. 18 minutes. Look up mark. The word there is charagma. Yeah, charagma goes back to charax, which means of a mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand, as the badge of the followers of the Antichrist. All right, as a badge of servitude or a badge of worship. All right, so if you're going to worship the new system, you got to be branded. All right. I mean, you go into the book of Maccabees, the 4th book of Maccabees, which is technically the 1st book of Maccabees. It tells you about the ivory leaf of Bacchus. I brought that out a while back. All right. As a badge of servitude. All right. So if you bow down and worship that image, I mean, you listen to whatever that image tells you. All right. Whatever the image speaks, you follow. All right. You receive that mark. So if the image tells you to receive that mark, you receive that mark. All right. Which it is. It's directly related to the mark is directly related to the image. All right. That's one of the first things it's going to tell you to do is receive that mark. All right. So it's working on the currency now, and that currency is eventually going to evolve into a physical implant. All right, the CBDC. All right, I think I made the point. And that no man might buy or sell save he had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. All right. Remember, Esau's slick. You was going to have something come at, at this, approach this on an odd angle, You could have cash in circulation and the implant, but every store only accepts the implant. That's a thought. All right, and I think I had this executive order. Yeah, this is it. All right. So March 9th. So the first one was. Let's go up. Yeah, March 9th. So this is just talking about the executive order, and this is the executive order. Executive order on ensuring responsible development of digital assets. And it goes back what we just read. Something under the 6 tenets. Illicit financial. We must mitigate illicit finance and national security risk posed by misuse of digital assets. So they want to control it. We must protect the United States and global financial stability. Mitigating systemic risk. Global financial. So they basically want to reduce the cash, get rid of the cash, physical cash, and have everything digital so they can control the whole system from to keep it from fraud. All right, so we got A, B, C, D. We must reinforce United States leadership in a global financial system. All right, that pride. D, that's number 4. Then we must protect access to safe and affordable financial services. E5F, we must we must support technological advancements that promote responsible development and use of digital assets. All right, F, we got coordination. Section 4, the policy and actions related to United States Central Bank digital currencies. All right, policies and actions. Sovereign money is at the core of well-functioning financial system. All right, section 4, I3. Section 4, Section 4A3 or III. The United States Central Bank digital currency may have the potential to support efficient and low-cost transactions, particularly for cross-border funds, transfer, and payments. All right, so it's an international thing. That's just reinforced that it's international. All right, so they want this digital currency to come in. Yeah, so that's pretty much made the point. All right, this is something that the world's governments are building right now. All right, they just have to find a reason to implement it. All right, it could be a terrorist attack. It could be the recession. This could be like a way to save the government, United States, from defaulting on, loans from the Federal Reserve. All right, the Federal Reserve is a corporation. That's separate from the United States, even though they'll try to say differently. How can the government be in debt to itself? Like, come on now. All right. Sovereign money is at the core of a well-functioning financial system. So they want to bring the digital currency in. All right. That's pretty much the gist of the lesson. All right. So worshiping the image of the beast is whatever the government tells you to do, you have to do. All right. You have to use the new money system. You have to taking the implant. All right. Well, if they tell you to work at a certain place, you got to work there. If they tell you to take a certain drug, you got to take the drug. All right. You're a complete bond slave to the beast. All right. And that's the seals. The 16th verse says about the small and great, rich and poor. You have to receive that implant. Or if you don't receive the implant, you can't buy and sell. All right. So if you're not a worshiper of the beast, all right, that means you didn't receive the implant. All right. And if you don't receive the implant, you have the potential to be killed. All right, so here's wisdom. Let him that hath the understanding count the number of the beast. This is Revelation 13:18. For it is the number of a man, and his number is 600. And his number is 600 or 666. Chi Psi Stigma. Let's look that up. Yeah. Chi Psi Stigma. All right. Too much vain speculation. Stigma is means like to stab, to stick. Stigma. High. Psi. Stigma. Now when you look up marks, there's stigma. And Leviticus also, but we want to stick with the Greek. Before I bear the marks, it's a different word. It's a stigma. Yeah, stigmatas, I thought I saw. Stigmata. Stigma. A mark pricked in or branded upon the body. The ancient Oriental usage, slaves and soldiers will bore the name of the stamp of their master or commander, branded or pricked, cut into their bodies to indicate that what master or general they belong to. All right. So when you worship the image of the beast, you're following all the laws, rules, regulations of the beast. All right. And one of those laws is to receive the implant. All right. Cut into their bodies indicates what master or general they belong to. All right. Well, belonging to what? Your respective government. All right. And there were even some devotees who stamped themselves in this way with the token of their gods. All right. The ivory leaf of Bacchus, a mark incised, cuts, series of cuts, or punched. Punched them and going beneath the surface for recognition of ownership. All right, stezo, stick. Right here it says stezo, stick, prick, scar of service, mark. Stezo, prick. All right, stigmata or stigma. Which stigma is the root word, but the actual word there is stigmata. All right, so I think you get the point. All right. Worshiping an image means you are following what the government says. All right, you're doing what the government says. All right, and one of the first orders is receiving that implant in your body. All right, so I'll leave that there. Hope you were edified. Shalom. To the next lesson. Shalom.